For joining us. We're here backstage with Geoffrey Morrissey at the Boston Calling Music Festival. I have the pleasure of being joined by the lone Bellow right now. Guys, great set, and thank you so much for talking with us.
Thanks, man.
So it's a big festival today. Do you guys have anyone that you particularly want to stick around and see if you can?
Lucia's are old friends of ours.
They're playing right now.
They're playing right now. They're killing it.
And I mean, Tenacious D and Pixies are playing tonight.
Jason Isbell.
Jason Isbell.
Yeah, so definitely one of the better one of the better days of the festival for sure. And festivals will be no stranger to you by the end of this year. You guys are playing 13. What's sort of drawing you to playing like a lot of festival shows this summer?
We love festivals. I mean, they're so much fun, and you get to be outside and see America, and at the same time you get to meet all sorts of other musicians and maybe collaborate with them every once in a while.
And you get a different crowd than people who would come to your club shows, so it's nice to just have new faces.
And sort of like with that in mind, are you extra meticulous with your set list when you make it, knowing that it's not going to be sort of like the hardcore, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like when we have like an hour and a half to like go through a whole night, but I enjoy festivals just because of like the energy. Like there's so many people and everybody's just enjoying the music. It's really fun, you know.
And then, so sort of speaking of picking songs, you guys have really great Spotify playlists. When you take a look through, it always a moment for every mood. How did you guys make these, and what was sort of the inspiration for some of them?
Our tour manager is an incredible Spotify playlist maker. It's like his bag. His name's Chris Pereira.
He knows what's going to be like big way before anybody else does. He's got an ear for it.
That's awesome. And then, so you guys are sort of based in Brooklyn right now. What is the folk or alternative folk scene like over there?
I think really in Brooklyn, the reason everything happened like that is because people don't have money and they only have like a little room for guitars. So usually it's an acoustic guitar, and that's kind of how it happened with us, at least. Like when we showed up, when we had our first practice, everybody just showed up with their acoustic instruments, and then that's where it progressed from. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. And then I mean, like the Rockwood Music Hall scene, and there's so many different music scenes in New York. I think that lends to a lot of life there.
Yeah, and then so I do want to talk a little bit about the latest album, Then Came the Morning. How would you say the album is different from the freshman self-titled release?
Well, we had the time to work on it. The first one, we had day jobs. We had to ask off to make it. We had to ask off to finish it in Nashville. This one, we had the time to take. So we did it in a church that was turned to studio in the 60s. And like, who did music there? I can't remember. Like the band did a record there, and like it was really cool. It's called Dreamland. And we just had 10 days there to just work, and then we came back and finished it in Brooklyn. It was so we got the chance to try a lot of different things. I think that's the reason why we, you know, and we've been playing for 2 years on the road together, so you learn a lot, you know.
Yeah, and then that's what I was gonna say. Most of this album was written on the road, and I know that a lot of artists don't really love writing on the road. Do you guys prefer it, or was it just sort of the way that it happened this time?
I mean, it had to happen that way. We had quit our jobs and had to tour, so it was just inevitable. But I think that it did lend to a good working ethic and a creative push for us, especially after spending so much time together.
Yeah, and there was a song that was on the first record that we wrote on the way to like one of our first shows. So I think we actually do like writing on the road. It's not bad.
No, that's awesome. And then, so Aaron Dressner, who sort of curated and created Boston Calling, you guys got to work with him for this record. Sort of, how did that all come about, and what was it like to work with him?
Actually, back to Chris Pereira, our tour manager, had read an article about him and Matt, and he was like, man, if there's ever an opportunity for us to work with them, we should. Just the way they take care of each other, and they're old friends, and the way they go about making music. And it turned out that we lived just like a mile away from each other, and we went over and met him, and it was definitely kindred spirits from the very get-go.
And then, so that was one of the interesting things. You said that you had time to work on this record, yet it was really made in like 10 days. Do you guys like working under that sort of pressure, if that makes sense, or was it?
I mean, we took our time. Like we were 2 weeks at Dreamland, and that's where we did all the bass sounds and then all of the vocals in the old sanctuary. But then, like, this guy went down the rabbit hole for weeks. Him and Aaron on the guitar and the amps and.
Yeah, I mean, I just basically was like a apprentice, but it was really fun, like hanging out with him and like learning sounds, and for like we worked on it for a good month afterwards, and just like figuring it out. And then Bryce came in and like did some arrangements, and it's just like their whole camp like just has their finger on the pulse of like music, at least in the Northeast. They're like running it, in my opinion. So.
And then, so I bet that you're doing a lot of interviews with this upcoming album, and that they can all get a little bit monotonous. What is something that you wish that interviewers would ask you that you get a little bit of a chance to talk about?
I think they do a pretty great job. I don't know. I mean, my favorite thing about an interview is just like meeting someone and having a conversation. And I mean, sometimes folks will accidentally like ask yes or no questions. You don't know where to go, but you're nailing it. You're knocking it out of the park. We're talking.
I kind of wish you'd just tell us more about yourself.
Boy, that'll get very boring. The life of a high school student is not let's put it this way, it's no tour bus. This is the highlight of my summer so far. So this is a segment dedicated to new music and different things like that. What are some of the artists that have your ear right now?
Been listening a lot to Sharon Van Etten lately. And then she's not new, but the new St. Vincent, I've been like...
They both absolutely tore it out of the park yesterday. They were incredible.
Oh yeah, they both... I wish I was here yesterday, basically.
I'm sorry.
And the new My Morning Jacket is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said it.
Tobias Jesso Jr. Like, he's awesome. That's a new artist coming up out of Canada. He's awesome. You get to hear a lot of these guys. We were in England doing Jules Holland and got to hear him sing. He's awesome. New artist, up and coming.
See, I find this interesting, and this is sort of an off-the-cuff question. They tried something sort of like later with Jules Holland in America. I think it was called like Soundstage or Soundscapes. Is there any reason why that doesn't, like, why British crowds are more in tune to that, or is it just sort of like a cultural thing?
He's really good at his job, and he's got a killer team that picked the music, and I don't know. I think they've taken years and years curating that, and people really respect it over there. If someone was going to do it over here, I think they would need to give it a few years for it to really grow and not pull the plug.
And then, so this will be my last question. If you guys could collaborate with sort of one or two different artists, who would you guys pick? Could be different for everyone too.
I know it. Andre 3000.
Andre 3000.
Right now, I would do it. The whole thing.
Very similar. Very similar.
It'd be called Scottie Pippen, not like Gnarls Barkley. Maybe like some weird name off Scottie Pippen.
We all love Jim James.
Yeah.
My Morning Jacket. That would be really fun.
Yeah, he's really good.
Think, who would I do? I would do Big Boy. You would have Andre, I'd have Big Boy.
And we release a 4 album.
Separate.
Dude, I'm gonna go with Ludacris then.
Yeah. Keep it hot, Atlanta.
Seriously, maybe you guys could do a cover of Hey Ya. That'd be pretty fun. See, now if I see that, like when you guys do a session with another radio station, I'm taking credit, but I'd love to see it. Well, thank you guys so much for chatting with us, and have a great festival.
Thank you.
Thanks. And then do you mind if we just get a